All right, wrestling family, this is your host, Cassio Pero. We're here with another episode. I got Reggie Wright here with me today. Oklahoma State legend, All-American. But honestly, for me, he's just a close friend, somebody I consider a brother, a big brother. I spent a good deal of time with him as his assistant at Delaware State University, where we further strengthened our bond and had the most time spent together. But man, just an incredible story, life story. And when I think about Reggie, I think of perseverance, right? So he's going to walk you through a little bit of his life and his triumphs and things he's accomplished along the way. But this man is he's the real deal. He's an overcomer, a perseverer, and he knows how to win. So, you know, I'm truly grateful for the brotherhood that we share. And let's dive into it. Reggie Wright, two-time Illinois state champ, right? Two-time Illinois state champ in high school, Proviso East. I'm taking it back. So we're gonna climb up. We're gonna climb up to your coaching career. But let's take it back to like towards the beginning, man, when you were just a young whippersnapper trying to do your thing, man. But you garnered two state titles, man, two state titles in a very tough Illinois state bracket, and one of those was against another brother of mine, Tony Davis, which we'll have Tony Davis on soon. But just incredible, man, because Tony Davis, what, 4-time state champ, 5-time state champ. I mean, unbeatable, right? So when you beat him, I didn't like you. I didn't like you at all. I didn't know you. I was just a kid, right? But my idol was Tony, right? So when you beat him, I'm like, Reggie, I don't like him. Who is he? Why did he do it? Why did he do this to us?
Wow, right.
You know. But talk to me a little bit about it, man. I give you the floor and just speak briefly about your high school career, man, what you were going through emotionally and how you still were able to just garner two, not one, but two state titles, man, in a tough state.
For me personally, you know, I had to start with, you know, just me being a kid, active, you know what I mean, just mischievous kid, just getting to everything like a tornado. I see a twister in the background, right? I almost think I probably should have been a twister because it's like, you know, I was like, they called me the Tasmanian devil.
Man, you would have fit right in. That was my dad's nickname, by the way, but you would have fit right in at the Twisters family, man. Trust me.
Right. I got into everything.
You might be an honorary twister right now, to be honest with you. You know it.
Right. I got into everything, and you know, my father wrestled. You know, he provided. He was a state qualifier. You know, state placer,
right?
For Bill Wright. You know, but he taught me a couple of moves, and you know, I used them to fight. You know, I used my moves for fighting because I always fought. You know, 9, 10 years old. I mean, I fight, you know. I mean, that's what we did in Maywood. You know what I mean? Right. You couldn't be my friend if I didn't fight you. You know? That's how we made friends. You know what I mean? The guy that you fought, that was you know what I mean? If he can almost beat you, that's my friend.
Right.
That's how
you can roll. You can roll with me.
If you can roll with me, we good. You know what I mean? But if I can just slam you around, you know, like that, and you can't take it. I mean, I can't hang out with you, kind of. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how it was when I was 9, 10 years old. You know what I mean? So I started wrestling because, you know, all of my friends wrestled. You know, I hung out with an older group, you know, and they were already into wrestling. And my father wrestled. It was a natural progression for me. And
gotcha.
It actually, you know, it was just perfect. It was perfect. I mean, I didn't, you know, I mean, I was wrestling varsity right away and, you know, placing the state right away. But it wasn't until maybe I made it to the state tournament. I started seeing the twisters. I'm seeing, you know, wrestlers that look like me dominate, you know?
Right.
I mean, the first guy I saw that, you know, that caught my attention was Stevie Williams.
Yes, sir.
He was in the bullpen barking. He was in the bullpen barking and like and dancing to Luke. You know, he was dancing to. He was saying, you know, but at the time Luke was, you know, really popular. You know, he was dancing and singing, and I was like, man, this guy is awesome, you know?
Yep. Yep.
This guy is awesome, you know what I mean? He's not nervous or anything. Everybody's so nervous and, you know, uptight before they wrestle, you know what I mean? And he's just singing and dancing around.
And listen, man, I got to park you right there. You told yourself, so we put a pin right there. But listen, I got to give a special shout out to Steve Williams. You done brought his name up. So we share the same birthday, March 8th.
Oh,
so he was an idol of mine, a mentor of mine, a big brother of mine. And for those who don't know, he's the oldest brother in the Williams family. So TJ Williams and Joe Williams, who went to Iowa, the oldest brother is Steve Williams. May he rest his soul in heaven. But, you know, he was just so instrumental, and his demeanor that you're speaking of was super contagious, right? So if you were a young person like me looking up to that, you wanted to exude that confidence. You wanted to exude that energy. And he took it out there on the mat with them, and he was a state champ in high school. And honestly, I just can't speak enough about him, man. He went back and coached with the Harvey Twisters and was super instrumental in just helping and impacting so many more lives. But I just want to give my shout out and my love to him, man. I think about him all the time. I miss him dearly. But yeah, I appreciate you bringing him up, man. He's special to us. Right. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, I have to bring him up because it's like now as an adult, you always have to feel like you need to come full circle. And, you know, and it's, you know, I didn't know Steve Williams. I just saw him, you know what I mean? I just saw him. And like you said, his personality was like, you know, humongous. So it's like now, you know, I'll come back full circle to, you know, kind of the beginning, you know, so I'll come back full circle. But, you know, I mean, it was like, oh man, this is kind of how I want to approach things. You know what I mean? I want to, you know, kind of be, you know, loose and, you know what I mean? And aggressive, loose and aggressive, you know, and that's how he was. And that was the first time I had saw that. You know, I didn't win state that year. I think your brother might have won my ass. You know, my first year wrestling, I think,
Jason,
like at 18 pounds. Like
Jason Pero.
Jason Pero. Yeah,
yes,
Jason Pero. I didn't even make it to him. You know what I mean? It was my first year, but he was a stud. You know, he was a stud. Yeah, I was like, oh, wow, these guys are all studs. But, you know, that was the beginning for me. You know what I mean? I saw those twisters and I'm like, hey, hey, it's a program full of people who look like me that are dominating the sport. You know what I mean? I need to keep wrestling.
I can do this.
My game, step my game up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Step my game up. I mean, I think I lost. I mean, I might have took, you know, 5th or 6th at state that year, but the next, I don't think I lost again. You know, I don't think I lost again after I had that experience. I seen Steve. I seen, you know, Jason win the state. Why, you know, why not me now?
Right.
So, but then the next year, that's when I saw kind of, I think I wrestled Tony. I think Tony Davis kind of, you know what I mean, gave me my first beating, you know what I mean? He gave me my first beat down, you know what I mean? I was like, wow, what happened? You know what I mean? I wrestled, I think I wrestled him at the Rosemont Horizon or something, the Rosemont.
Yeah, I remember that tournament,
Like, who is that? You know what I mean? They were like, that's Tony Davis.
Right.
Like, oh, this guy is phenomenal. You know what I mean? And that's the start. That's you know, that was my pace. You know what I mean? I had to keep pace with him. I mean, you know, when he beat in that first tournament, I knew if I can keep pace with him and TJ and everyone, you know, all of the twisters, I could be, you know, I mean, it's almost like, you know, shoot for the moon, you'll be with the stars, you know, just try to keep pace with these guys, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it wasn't so much about beating them. It was just like, you know, just be right there with them. You know what I mean? You'll be okay.
Yeah.
Just keep up. You'll be okay. You know? So
most definitely, man.
Keep up with these guys. I mean, so that, you know what I mean? That's it was about for me, just kind of keeping up, you know what I mean? I mean, I had a lot of other things going on, you know what I mean? I was mischievous. I got into a lot of troubles, you know, I was smart, but I wasn't a good student, you know what I mean? I was smart.
You just didn't apply yourself.
Yeah, I didn't apply myself. You know,
and that happens all the time, man. That happens all the time for a million different reasons, right? So, I mean, that's all good, but the path that you charted for yourself now, man, and things that you've done is just commendable, man. And you're somebody that I personally admire, and that's real. So that's why, you know, yes, sir. It's an honor for me to have you on this podcast, man. And it's just to tell your story. But let's fast forward a little bit, man. You know, you used that high school momentum, and then you went on to college, man. You went to Triton. Were you there for 1 or 2 years before you went to Oklahoma State University?
Story in there that a lot of people don't know. I tell it. You know,
Say that again.
It's a story in there that that gets lost. You know,
tell it, man. You know, yes, sir. Tell it.
First time I want to tell it to Cassio Pero. You know,
man, I appreciate you.
All right,
you're at the right place.
All right, so hey, you know, so I didn't pass the NCAA clearinghouse. You know, I didn't pass the NCAA clearinghouse.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I had to attend junior college. All right. So I still didn't have, you know, I didn't even know what my goal was. You know, I just know I didn't want to get shot and I didn't want to go to jail. You know, you know, all of those things almost happened. You know what I mean? You know, more than 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 times. You know what I mean? So, you know, I had to go back to, how did I evade all of these things? You know what I mean? So it's like, but I'll kind of look back to that. But, I had to go to Triton. So I'm still living in Maywood. I'm still living in Maywood, still kind of, involved in the same things that that might have got trouble. You know what I mean? So I'm still at junior college, I'm still living in Maywood, still hanging out. Right. So I think that year I had to kind of, I think TJ was at my weight. I think he was one that, at the weight class or whatever. I wrestled him at the junior college nationals, and he beat me at the junior college nationals. And then I think he lost, and it was like, how did this happen? Kind of right.
Right.
So it was like, so that was kind of like eye-opening to me. I'm like, maybe I should, train to be the best I can be and not try to keep pace with somebody else. Right. So that was kind of eye-opening to me. But also at the same time, life is still happening. Right. So the same things are kind of going on in my life in Maywood, Gotcha. So I wasn't in the game. But, I kind of ran around with a lot of gang members, you know what I mean?
Right.
I ran around with a lot of gang members, and that summer I kind of got it, into like a fist fight with like the gang leader. I got into a fist fight with the gang leader. And,
hey, we can laugh about this now. Like this, you can laugh because you sitting there now, decades later, you've accomplished X, Y, Z, but I mean, this is good that you're sharing it because this is serious stuff, man. Like we're laughing, but this is stuff that it could be a potential pitfall. When I say pitfall, I mean in your life pitfall. So by the grace of God, man, you telling your story, man. Hopefully, it will be a blessing to somebody else, a youngster that's listening, or anybody who thinks there is no way out or there's no way they can avoid a potential pitfall. If hey, you got college in your sights, in your grasp, you got coaches calling you and they see your wrestling talent, but you also have the streets kind of tugging at you and a crowd that you're hanging around. Right, man. Yeah. I'm glad you're speaking on that, man. It's very important, man, for youth to say, hey, you can make some certain decisions. Yeah. It's going to lead you down a path that goes left or a path that goes right. But the decision is yours. The decision is yours to make. It might not be an easy decision to make, but you got it. You got the decision nonetheless. So go ahead, man. Pick
That's right. So I got into a fight. With the gang leader.
With the gang leader.
He wants to kill me.
Blood in, blood out. Here you go.
He wants to kill me. So I need to get out of the town. You know what I mean? And that's why I went to Lassen. So people don't know why I went to Lassen.
Okay. Yeah.
I was at Triton first. And, I got into a fight with the leader of the gang and I needed to leave the town.
And Lassen, folks. Okay. So Reggie's in the Midwest. Lassen is in California. All right. So when he say he had to pack up and get away, that's what he means. You lucky Lassen ain't in Hawaii, Honolulu, one of them islands, man.
All the way across the country and the mountains, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So, I left it with the lesson, and it saved my life,
Yeah.
it saved
Okay.
my life. And, that's why I kind of hooked up with TJ again, hooked up with T, and, he a great model, great role model, good organized, goal-oriented guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was awesome that I met him. I mean, I don't, kind of know where I would have been, I mean, there was a major transition in my life. You know what I mean?
That's awesome,
Major
man.
transition,
And
Who
we all
man was out
talk
there?
to this day. We
What's
all
that?
still talk to this day. TJ Williams. So that brotherhood lasted you forever.
Man, that was forever, man. That was all LinkedIn, man. It's like, hey, man, I don't know what would happen,
That's
I don't
good.
know what would happen. And even out there, I went to Lansing, and I'm from Maywood. I'm from urban environment. You know what I mean? I still got the urban, philosophy,
Mentality.
environment philosophy. So, so I'm out there, it's a culture shock for me. So I was out in the dorms.
Right.
I didn't have kind of any guidance at first, you know what I mean? But kind of when Lonnie Knowles, that was our coach and our mentor, and kind of hands-on guy, he kind of came and got me and, took me, he, picked me up and, took me to, this apartment where kind of TJ them lived. And it's like, we connected then, and it's, everything was good then because, I had a goal. I had, I knew what I could do, what I mean?
Right.
Back to just keeping pace, just kind of doing what, what a model, I mean, I didn't have a model, what I mean? I didn't have an older brother. I mean, I have older brothers, but they didn't wrestle or anything. So I didn't know what, I mean, you always got to have somebody that, that you stand on their shoulders kind of thing, what I mean? And, a model of, what you want, but you don't know how to get it. I mean, so you always got to, find those people that, they have good structure and good foundation, and they, they're goal oriented,
So to that point, man, and you still have a choice in that too. Even though these people come into your life, it's up to you to recognize that, hey, this is something I want to open my ears to, open my mind to, and really gravitate towards this in terms of being a direction that I want my life to go in. Because you could still have those people in your life and choose to do something different. So briefly speak on that decision that you made personally to say, hey, I'm really liking my teammate TJ Williams and his vibe and his mentality, and I'm also appreciative of Lonnie as his coach, and hey, this is what I'm gonna go with, and I'm gonna just try my best to adjust and adapt and grow as a young man and be something different. Briefly speak on that, man, and then we'll go into OSU, man, with John Smith, man, and to get yourself there is at one of the best universities in the country with one of the top coaches in the country. That's a success story in itself. It could just stop there, but let's get there. Let's get there real quick, man.
Let's get real quick. I mean, I don't think I would have made it there without my environment. I don't even think they were coming to. I think they were coming to recruit teachers. You know what I mean? And they saw me. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, what's he doing out? What is he doing out here? Kind of thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, I mean, I'm just in the, in the right hands at, the place at the right time, kind of thing. So all of that is just all interconnected. You know what I mean? It's like relationships. You know what I'm saying? That's the key theme of anything that I want to say is, what I mean? You build a relationship with, you know what I mean? And that relationship can, change the trajectory of your life. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I like to talk about is how did these people change me? Because it wasn't me, you know what I mean? It was just me. I can't do anything by myself, you know what I mean? Relationships.
Absolutely.
Relationships.
So let's talk about when you got to Oklahoma. You chose Oklahoma State University. Oklahoma State University chose you. So now you're married. You go off to college and, you're in a new state, but your mindset is probably a lot different. You're a lot more mature. You got great teammates there too, right? You got Daniel Cormier, some of the top people, Mark Munoz you wrestle with, right? Were you there with Shane Roller and Guerrero?
Yeah, I was there with all of them. Yeah.
Man, listen. Star-studded lineup. You said what?
Yeah, go ahead. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So listen, I just want to talk about how all of that molded you, man. John Smith, talk about that. Like, talk about what it was like to wrestle for John Smith, one of the greatest and the most accomplished wrestlers of our lifetime, right? Still currently the head coach there and doing great things with the whole team. And also just the team around you. I mean, big names like the names that I just named, Daniel Cormier and all that, they were teammates, right? So now you're there with more, God put you in a place where you got more positive influence, more studs, more people that can, shape and mold you into the Reggie that you were always meant to be, right?
That's right.
You're becoming this person. You're a two-time All-American. Listen, my excitement is genuine. I mean it. I'm happy. I'm happy for your past, and I'm happy for your present, man, and your future. So just speak on that time period, that OSU time period, wrestling for John Smith, and those dynamic teammates you had, man.
Awesome. It was an awesome time. It was a great time. I mean, you could easily get starstruck. You know what I mean? You got all these people, you know what I mean, around, and I feel like, that's kind of, what happened in the beginning. When I first got there, I'm like, man, all these studs, and you know what I mean, and they're a lot different than me. You know what I mean? I'm still Reggie. I mean, I'm from the hood. I'm hood Reggie. You know what I mean? I don't assimilate. You know what I mean? I don't. You know what I mean? I do me. Right. So I'm out there. Everybody chewing, chewing dip, and you know what I mean, talking a certain way, and got on cowboy boots.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I'm in Texas now, so I know a little bit about that.
I'm just a little black boy from the hood, you know what I mean? And I feel like when I first got there, I feel like, I think that, I thought that maybe I should try to assimilate, but then, as I grew and mature and got older, I feel like that, hey, you know what I mean? Take me for what I am, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And as I got older, you know what I mean, I had to grow there. I had to grow into, not losing me totally. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's easy to try to, no, it's not easy. It's a hard thing to kind of do. Struggle with that assimilation. You know what I mean? And your core values. I'm still kind of, I'm still only, I'm probably 19, or I'm 19 years old, so I'm struggling with some identity stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm sure it's still molded, but to your point, with you got Cormier, Guerrero, and all of those people. They're struggling too, they're struggling too. He was from San Jose. He was from a rough area, San Jose. Guerrero assimilated immediately. When I got there, he had on cowboy boots. He was a great guy, though.
You're right.
He wanted to be John Smith. He was a mini John Smith. That's what he wanted to be, a mini John Smith.
Right.
He talked like him, walked like him. You know what I mean? Ate like him. But hey, I was familiar with that. I couldn't shed all my layers. You know what I mean?
It's all good. Me. Well, let's just talk about you just on the mat, right? So you took who you were. You're still, molding yourself as a young man, but you let's talk about the culture at OSU and how everybody was on the same page and had the same goal to win, and how you were able to compete at a high level, tune out any negatives, and become a two-time All-American. And it's not easy. It's just not easy to get on that podium, and you were able to do it, and just speak on that.
Man, it was an awesome time, awesome feeling, awesome environment to wrestle in. You know what I mean? That was the biggest thing for me. I was like, hey man, this is me. I didn't come from an environment where everybody, they were into wrestling. I mean, I come from, Maywood. It was basketball. It was basketball. So it's like they treated, us like we were basketball players. So it was like, man, it was like,
you were the stars.
Like we were stars. You know what I mean? So it was like it was easy to get up. You know what I mean? Get up and it was about not getting embarrassed. You know what I mean? we built ourselves up so high. This, the level was so high. It was detrimental to us. You know what I mean? It was like, you're supposed to win. It's like, you're supposed to win. You're supposed to win. You can't be out here if you're not a winner. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Right.
Everybody, you look up and down the depth chart. You got 3-time state champs, 4-time state champs. You know what I mean? That was just the norm.
Right.
So I would think, for some people it would have been, a great thing. You know what I mean? But for me, I feel like there was a little bit to my detriment. You know what I mean?
Just the pressure involved, or
yeah, not that. Pressure. Yeah, high pressure, high stress. You're supposed to win. Coming in, you're supposed to be the national champ your first year. You know what I mean? So we're right there. I'm right there. I think TJ was ranked number 1, and I was ranked number 2, and Tony right in there too. But Tony didn't wrestle a lot of matches. But that first year, we were all right there. And you're supposed to win the nationals. So it's like, it's no building. You're not building up to that. It's like you're supposed to be the man. You know what I mean? Walking in the door kind of thing. So it's a lot of pressure, as opposed to if you are a big fish in a smaller pond. You know what I mean? So if you're a big fish in a big pond, that's a little different than being a big fish in a small pond. You know what I mean? Where you get a little more attention. You know what I mean? They didn't spoon feed you out there. You know what I mean? It's like, if you can't get it done, next. You know what I mean? Right. Next. You don't get any individual attention. You know what I mean? You get a little bit, but you don't get that much. You know what I mean? and if you get hurt, you know what I mean, you might not see the lineup again.
Mm-hmm.
You got to wrestle hurt. You know what I mean?
You got to stay on your P's and Q's.
Right. No individual attention. You know what I mean? It's like, but it was a great time overall, because I feel like I delivered. You know what I mean? I delivered. I built relationships. To this day, I'm still close friends with Daniel Cormier, still close friends with Jamil Kelly, still good friends with Guerrero, Munoz. But everybody, like I said, everybody was coming into their own. I would, at that time, I don't think they were the people that they are kind of right now. You know what I mean? I can start off with Jamil Kelly. Jamil Kelly, he wasn't even making the lineup, but everybody knew he was a superstar. I wrestled him in practice. Right. I'm like, man, this guy, I'm like even with him. We're like in practice, he's 4 on takedowns, right. And then he's wrestling somebody, and he's in overtime that I tech though. So it's like, I don't understand it, So, me and Jamil Kelly, we spent a lot of time together, me and Cormier, we spent a lot of time together. Cormier, he was really dynamic. And
big personality, man. Big personality to this day, right? So he's a sportcaster, right? As everybody can see, right. MMA star. But I remember brushing past with him I think it was a national tournament one time. I might have still been competing, or just barely done wrestling in college. But anyway, we were all in the same van together, and Munoz hopped in the van, Cormier hopped in the van. Yeah. And I had never met them before, but we had a blast. It was like the after nationals party. Reggie, what the heck happened to your screen, man? All right.
Somebody's calling me. My bad. Somebody's calling me.
No, you good. But just dynamic personality, man. Fun dude to be around. I'll never forget that night we all hung out. But go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, no, that was a great guy. But he was the one that his personality and his background was more similar to mine. So we spent a lot more time together. Right. we got into a lot of trouble together. I don't want to go into too many specifics, but not too much trouble. Just college trouble.
I get it. But you made it out. Let's just focus there. You made it out. Y'all graduated. Hey, listen, you were the first to graduate in your family, right?
Yeah, in my family. Yep.
And Reggie, that picture does not look like you, by the way. That the little cartoon you got there, that don't look like you. You might need to change that little cartoon emoji, man. I don't know who that is.
Man, I need to change that. What's that emoji? Yeah, I need to change my emoji, man.
But anyway, no, you get. So listen, you were the first in your family to get that degree, man. How did that make you feel?
Man, that made me feel like I can do anything. That's the thing. I never pride myself on actually really being a champion wrestler or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never was the fastest, never was the strongest, and I always would reflect on that. You know what I mean? And I would always ask myself the question, like, how am I winning? You know what I mean? And, for years I couldn't, why, and it's just not recently, but years ago, I figured out, why I was winning, and it's because, I feel like what I'm good at is setting the goal and reaching the goal, I'm
which is honestly, Reggie, that perseverance that I spoke to in the very beginning of this podcast, right? And I see it, I felt it when I was coaching with you. That's who you are. You got that guts, you got the will to succeed, the will to win. And you can't put a price tag on that. You can't measure that. You can't quantify that. Like, so if somebody's in there day in and day out, putting in that work and has the guts and the will to do it, you garner a level of success. It might not be the top of the top of the top every single time, but you will be successful with that will. And you've always had it, man. So that's one of the things I admire about you. But let's fast forward again, man, and dive just a little bit into coaching, and then we'll wrap it up. What made you, first of all, just what made you want to coach, period, after you got done getting your degree?
I just felt like it was, it was my responsibility to give back because, I my life, how I could have, went to jail or, something bad could have happened, and because, I, built these relationships with all of these different through the sport of wrestling, it's like, it's my responsibility to reach back as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, just like teaching, it's like, you try to teach a student something and you just don't know if you're getting through to them, but, in 10 years, they come back and say, hey, man, you know what you said to me 10 years ago, you actually helped me. You actually saved my life. I mean, kind of thing like that. So it's like, I know that firsthand, so it's like, it's just about reaching back and, and I'm here fortunately because, of some of the people I've met through the sport of wrestling. So it's like, I can't deny it. I have to be involved in wrestling somehow, some way. And it's not about winning. It's not about winning the titles anymore for me. It's just about the relationships, You can get somebody to believe in you, you know what I mean? And then you drop the seed, you know what I mean? You drop the seed, so.
Yeah, say less, man. I totally identify with what you're saying. And honestly, I'm in the same exact boat. I'm done wrestling. Obviously, I got a family, a wife, children, just as you do, a career. But here's this Wrestling Fan podcast, right? Why? Right. It's because of relationships. It's because of what we're discussing right now. So, hey, I identify with you 100%. When you gave me that call to coach with you at Delaware State University, thank you. I want to thank you for that time period, man. It helped shift my life and was a developmental time period in my life where I was able to evolve and grow as a young man and as a professional. And your leadership was important to me. And it was good. I watched you navigate that university as a leader of that team, as a head coach of that team, and do what you had to do within the administration to pull resources, as many as you can, to come up with creative ways to give back to those young adults there at Dell State and do the best you can with what you had. They ended up dropping the program like a year later, right after we got there, which was gut-wrenching and heartbreaking because you're trying to build something and you don't know how to save a program and get it to the next level. You have some talent there that you want to foster and harness in those kids, but you can't do it without the resources and the backing behind you. And Dell State is a HBCU. And it was just very difficult we don't have endowments, right? We don't have money. We don't have all this stuff backed up for years and support. And that's what we're trying to change now, like just shifting just a little bit is Deion Sanders at Jackson State University now. He's trying to change the dynamic of HBCUs and how they're viewed and how they're looked at. There should be way more people getting into the NFL, but it's the same kind of dynamic in the sport of wrestling and just HBCUs in general. Like we need way more attention, way more resources, and the talent is there. It just needs to be harnessed and fostered in order for us to continue to be successful. But I just wanted to speak on that briefly. And to just thank you for that time period there. It meant a lot to me. And you looked out for me. You looked out for me the whole time I was there. And when I say look out for me, you looked out for my growth as a coach, as a professional. I learned a lot from you, but just also personally, right? If I needed something personally, boom, you didn't bat an eye. You were right there for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So thank you from literally the bottom of my heart. Thank you for that time period, man. You mean a lot to me, man. So, briefly just speak on Dale State and how you felt when they were like closing the program down and you having a transition to something different.
Oh man, yeah, that was a tough time, right? So just a feeling, it's just, I don't even know what the feel. I can't even describe the feeling, It's like it's just another obstacle. It's just another obstacle that you got to clear in life, Right. That's how I approached it. It's like, hey, the goal going into it is, to build it. But once you see what's going on, what you see what's going, when you figure out, that you don't have the scholarship, you don't have the support that, that you thought you had. The goals kind of shift, And,
yes, sir.
It was probably 3 or 4 months, we were 3 or 4 months in and, my goal shifted, I don't think I told you that, I didn't tell you that, but my goal was to, get you your degree, keep you safe kind of, and get us out of there, So, get what we need to get and get out of there kind of, what I'm saying? So that was the kind of goal, It's like, and I think we were out of there after about a year, right? So
yeah, it was about a year. It was about a year and some change because I was able to get the sports administration master's degree from there. But the program was imploding, and I just remember scratching and clawing, trying to, it was keep the program going. But it's just so like you're grabbing at straws, right, in order to do that. And at some point in time, you feel so deflated that you have to say, okay, I have to transition. I have a family. I got to take care of my family. And you kind of got to go, which is the heartbreaking part, man. And I just got done having a podcast with Ray Blake and how they saved Stanford wrestling. I'm like, okay, that's a beautiful thing, but that doesn't happen all the time. You don't get to have a revival of the program and things like that, man. But yeah, man, I just wanted to speak on it briefly. Thank you on it, man.
One thing we don't take into account is that time we were in a recession as a country,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We didn't talk about that. That was that time, the housing bubble had bursted and all. It was a tough time. That was a tough time for everybody throughout the country. The gas prices was up to $4 or something like that. We're trying to travel, we're trying to make it. So it's just, we just, we had those circumstances and, those are just molding us and, and building our endurance for what's to come, that's how I see that, that's in the rear view, but, just as long as you stay gritty and, you finish your race, you you're going to be stronger, for what's ahead of you,
Absolutely.
We talk now. We have families. We got families, and it's tough. It's tough to raise a family. It's tough to be married. It's tough to, it's tough to be a father. Tough to be a husband. And it's tough to be kind of a leader. But all of those things, kind of, build us up. You know what I mean? All those hard times. So,
That's right. That's right, man.
I don't, I'm glad I went through those things. I'm glad we went through those hard times,
Right. Absolutely. And it was definitely a lot of an eye opener for me coming from University of Illinois to Delaware State University, and I learned a lot. And I'm appreciative for the experience, like you said. So what is Reggie Wright, Coach Wright, doing today?
What's Coach Wright doing today? You see my little one right here?
Hey, how you doing?
That's what I'm doing right today is
beautiful.
Being the father, being
beautiful,
the father,
beautiful.
And I'm coaching. I'm coaching at Edison Trail, Edison Trail High School, and I'm a social studies teacher. And that's it, So that's what's going on.
That's awesome, man. Hey, listen, this is probably one of the longest podcasts ever, and this is definitely times is up because baby girl she wants your time. But man, it's an honor, it's a pleasure to have you on here, man. And I'm glad you're still coaching and giving back to the youth to this day. Administration is lucky to have you there at Addison, and the wrestlers and parents and coaches are lucky to have somebody like you, man, who knows how to persevere, knows how to overcome, and knows how to garner success, man. So much love to you, man. And I appreciate you for blessing the podcast. Hey, baby girl.
Hi.
I appreciate you, bro. And
I appreciate you too.
Yes, sir. We will stay in touch, okay?
Okay, Cassio.
All right, Reggie. Bye-bye.
All right.